Hello, everyone, citizens of Anvil and the rest of the world. Are we ready to relive our trauma of the Sweet Glade Massacre? Woo! I am joined with my regular co-hosts,
Carrie!
Alex.
You have way too much enthusiasm, Tom.
I was on the right side of the Sweet Glade Massacre. Woohoo!
Chloe, hello.
Morgan.
And we are ready to end our E4 and Empire-related content for the year, except the Hunter's Feast. Are we all ready for a traumatic experience?
Wait, before we have the
And
traumatic experience. Yeah, he's Empire though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we have the traumatic experience, I would like to bring up the puppet show that I had been meant to write all weekend, that I was meant to write the night before and then didn't write the night before, and we were performing directly after the battle. So while I was having coffee and getting my mage armor on, we were writing that. And you know what? It was coming along fine until we got to the last line. We couldn't figure out the last line to the point that I literally left for battle, noticed that the group I was going with weren't there yet, went, fuck it, I'll go for a last minute wee. Went to the bathroom, bumped into the person I was writing the puppet show with on the way to the bathroom. We're still trying to figure it out. Still don't get there. I closed the portaloo door. I burst it back open. I've got it! That's how close it was to last minute that we finished writing this puppet show.
Fantastic.
But now we can continue to talk about the battle.
I love that the joy. It's the eve of battle. We're about to fight against our vicious enemies, the Druge. But nay, I have a play to write.
Bursting out of a portaloo. I've got it! The perfect pun to finish the play.
They are the
Not
bards.
Play, puppet show.
Sorry?
Not play, puppet show.
It's a type of
Muppet
play.
show even.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Very blue play.
So, I'm not going to lie. When I heard about what the battle opportunities were for this weekend, I was praying to God not to be on this one.
Yeah, I was not. I was not. I was hoping we wouldn't be on this one, but alas. Hope is a false virtue for a reason.
Yes.
There was no way that Navarre weren't fighting.
I was so worried about you with this, especially with everything that happened this whole weekend. I thought, oh no, Neva's going to be so reckless in this battle. And then I saw you right before and you were like, I'm going to do something dangerous. I was like, Neve, no!
So everyone except Tom was fighting this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How was everyone? Because I had a pretty intense, getting ready for battle. What was everyone else like getting ready for battle?
I was having a nice, lovely morning getting ready for maneuvers. I did see my old friend Adam, who plays Corwin Durandal. I'm like, I'm going to do the usual, don't die. Then I literally said,
Never say that,
you'll be
Anvil.
fine. You're a year one character. Nothing can kill you now. And how wrong I was.
Yeah. Putting the cart before the horse there, but...
Yeah, this is the end of the story. Let me just tell you how it ends. Then we'll flash back to the rest of it.
Yeah. What were you guys getting ready?
Oh, well, I was writing a puppet show.
You were writing the puppet show. You were Baronsborn Banner Bearer, right?
Baronborn Bearer, the banner bearer.
Say that 10 times faster.
With a kettle of ale.
With a kettle of ale. After a kettle of ale, probably could.
It's a family tradition, the kettle of ale.
Yeah, out of nowhere, they were just like, do you want to do the banner? I was like, oh, may I? Yeah. Because Bastard, who usually does the banner, he wasn't there. He was in Scotland. I don't know who would go to Scotland other than Empire. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, terrible. Disgusting.
Yeah. But, they said, do you want to take the banner? And I was like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing with it. And they were like, someone said stick with Neve, and someone else said stick with Rook. And I was like, okay. I'll try and stick with both of them. Well, it'll come to terms that did not happen. There's an old Zen proverb, which is, if you try and chase two rabbits, you'll catch none. And that was my entire experience, that battle, just trying to keep up with either Neve or Rook at one point. But yeah, it was good. We got mustered. We got ready to go fight. Stood out and we listened to Anwin give the directions and get us all motivated. Just the usual muster. It was the calm before the storm. We had no idea what was coming.
How was the feeling in Varushka, Kerry?
Yeah, it was fine, really. I was meeting up with the Pine Wheels, my new mercenary group that I've joined, which was interesting. There was only 4 of us on the field for this, actually. because I guess some of them weren't at this event. And I paired up with, there was like 2 fighters with shields, and then there was me, and then there was another mage wearing like the full-on wizard's hat and everything. So I was like, can I stay with you? I'm a squishy mage too. And he was very good at looking after me. And we went to the bathroom beforehand, actually. Another last-minute toilet trip because, I can't help myself. I know I'm not going to be able to go for like 3 hours. I still needed it during the battle. Honestly, like it's mind over matter. But my bladder is very much losing that battle. But yeah, we went to the bathroom and he was saying, oh yeah, no, I was up quite late last night. Then who did I bump into waiting for him? Tallis. And then this guy comes out the bathroom and goes, hey, this is the reason I was up so late last night. And I was like, oh, of course, everyone knows Tallis.
Tallis is a late night menace to society at Anvil.
If anyone was up till 4 a.m. drinking, it was probably with Tallis. And they were probably having the best fucking time. But yeah, that's basically it. And then we marched off and sort of caught up with everyone.
And how was the vibe in Dawn? Were you pumping up with glory, ready to fight for the Empire?
So this has been my first full event as a noble. I was kind of getting my armor on back at camp, getting ready to go over to House Gorvan, where the Winged Lions muster before we march up. And as I'm sat there, Earl Sidlaw comes along, looks at me, and goes, "You're not girded?" I was like, "I nearly am." He's like, "Come this way, follow me." And I followed him up to the Gorvan tent, and he went inside and came back out with a pauldron. It's like a silver steel pauldron with a gold-winged lion kind of carved into it.
Ooh, snazzy. And
he said this pauldron belonged to Sagramor de Gorvan, who is a noble who died a few summits ago. One of the first people I met at Anvil, followed him when we were fighting with the Winged Lions. He said, I have its sibling. I wear this one. And I'm going to give you this one. So he attached the pauldron to my armor and was like, you'll wear this now as a Knight of the Winged Lions. And he says, you've not sworn the oath, have you? I'm like, no, I haven't had a chance to. He's like, right, kneel down. And then the oath I had to swear, it was like, people were like, right, we need to go to the gate. He's like, right, we'll do the quick one. Which was for the Empire and those who live in it, for the way and those who follow it, strong and fierce, yet swift and vigilant, I stand with the company of the Winged Lion. So I said that oath. And then he says, have you got a talisman? And I said, no, I haven't. And he takes a necklace off with a little lion ring on it, puts it around my neck and says, this is a bond ring. And it's bonded to Lady Cecilia, who was also a member of Gorvan. And bond ring is you can use stay with me on each other. And also you have like a connection to them, I think, right? You can kind of feel like a connection to them whilst you have it on. And then he gave me another ring, which was like my ring for the Winged Lions that I put on. It's a very cool moment, kind of being sworn into the Winged Lions, getting all this stuff on. And then, we march up to the gate, swelling with pride. Again, the journey of Tristan, I've really enjoyed. It's like 3 years of this. And then finally to be like within the Winged Lions, wearing kind of Sagramor's pauldron. And we queued up to go through the gate. So it was a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Weather was pretty all right. It was like not too hot.
Yeah, it was nice and mild.
It wasn't raining. Yeah. There was a bit of sun, but it was fine. All set up to be a fairly okay battle. Perfect fighting, which sucks actually because hot weather is hard for orcs. Yeah. So I guess cloud cover's good for them.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
My morning kind of started the same as everyone else's, but I was at the road where Navarre muster before everyone else. I wasn't line captaining this event, but I still was just there just because Neve angry fight.
Yeah.
Ready.
Is that why you weren't line captaining? You just sent every wave upon wave to their death?
No, I wasn't line captaining because I was line captaining because I was filling in Rook's space whilst they were shadowing Anwin and field marshalling with them, but they weren't this event, so they were taking their place back as line captain. So I was like, oh cool, I just get to get stuck in.
Which is good,
Hell yeah.
Which, I don't know if it made any difference, but Anwin came up to me before giving her brief at muster and was like, she's like, this is going to be a fucking hard fight. Like, this is going to be awful. She's like, I need you to do something for me. I was like, yeah, of course, like anything. What do we want? What do we need? She was like, I need you to be aggressive. She's like, I need you to push and don't fucking stop. She's like, you just need to get everyone with you. And she was like, just fight for your lives. And I was like, can do. Like, absolutely, yeah. So I was like, right, okay. This is how today's gonna go. Okay, what could go wrong?
Have we spoken about what the stakes for this were going to be?
We haven't yet, but they were not high. They were
If we
sky high.
If we failed this, there was like 3 armies worth of Valorn going to be created, I think. Which is...
a lot.
Shit, that's whack.
Yeah, that's... I mean, it's funny because it's exactly what Navarre are trying to do. But
But we're doing it for good reasons.
yeah. So it was like very much... And everyone knew this was going to go bad, I think. Anyone that was honest with themselves. Venom in the woods.
Yeah.
I
I think we knew it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to be an easy fight, but I thought there was a hope. I still had a chance.
My friend on Saturday had been going round being like, tomorrow it's going to be a hard fight. About 100 people are going to die, but we're going to succeed. And that's a good thing. And people are like, no, shut up. It's going to be fine. No one's going to die. And they're like, no, a lot of people are going to die. Don't be silly, but we'll win. And then when they were right, they were like, yeah, there you go. It was awful, but we won. And a lot of people died. Told you.
But it was a must-win battle. Like there was no way that like we had to win this.
Yeah.
And that's what we were told at muster. We have to. Anwin was like, we cannot afford to lose today. She was like, we have to win. Regardless, she was like, she didn't say this. I don't care how many of you died, but it was very much to that effect. Like, we need to win this no matter what the cost. Like, we need to win. Mm-hmm. So, like, we were all very aware. Mm-hmm. Well, we had no idea what we were walking into, but it was...
I had no idea what I was walking into because I hadn't listened to anybody speaking.
Same.
I was on the outskirts.
Empire's fine.
Ignorance truly
Is bliss. I was expecting it's just going to be a nice, easy fight. I was still fucking around trying to figure out how to hold the banner without getting it caught in trees.
Do you guys have one of those little holsters for the banner?
Bastard
Bastard
does,
does.
Okay.
but obviously that's in Scotland with him lollygagging.
No, literally, I've fought twice. I've been in 2 battles in character at Anvil, and last time on E3, it was so chill. I didn't even see the front line. I'm just stood at the back with the healers, waiting for something to. Oh, it's gonna be all right, isn't it? 2 extremes, guys. 2 extremes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been that horrific.
Yeah, and
No, yeah.
I've not heard of it being like that before. It's definitely the most horrific I've seen.
The first time I line captain was the one with the Siaka Heralds. I think E2 this year, because I've only line captained a couple of times with it. But yeah, E2 was a pretty hard battle, especially for my first time line captaining. But
Yeah.
I would take that over this Sunday
100%.
100 times
yeah.
over.
There's been times before where there's been the fear that, oh my God, we might lose a couple dread shields here. But in this battle, there was the very real fear that we might lose everyone.
It wasn't even a fear; it was a possibility at one point.
Yeah.
Like when we do talk about the battle, like we'll get onto that. But there was a point where we all almost died. Like we were all gone.
Should we stop dancing about this?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's get into the trauma and relive this shit.
So essentially, from my perspective, we launched onto the field. We were hit pretty hard immediately. I think
Yeah.
I walked onto a hot field.
Yeah.
We as Dawn just kept marching up the field.
Yeah.
We
I think we
would.
went in last, maybe.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
We weren't supposed to engage. We were supposed to get up and get to that midgate, I think.
Yeah.
March up there to get towards Midgate, and get into the woods where the miasma was. So that was the first leg of the battle for me. I don't even think I spilled any blood before we got through. We got there and there was a bit of a jam at the gate, which we managed to break eventually, is all I remember.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before that, I don't. Did you see much action before that point?
We did in the woods at the side, like before you get into
You
the
engaged
field.
them, okay,
yeah. So we swept on. We were told that Dawn were going in, sweeping through, clearing the path, and then once we're through, we're through. So we were just kind of waiting for you guys to get in, do your thing, and then for us to go. So we engaged there, and then we got to the gate, and it was just all a bit of a clusterfuck. Because like I said, I wasn't line captaining, so nothing was under my command with this. But 3 different people were like, Neve, what's the plan? Like, Neve, we need to break through, or Neve, no, we need to hold. And I was like, whoa, hang on. this is not my thing. We need to do what we're doing. And then all I hear is, move, coming through. And then a big clanky swarm of dawn just pushed through. And I went, right, well, there you go. That's your answer. That's what's happening. I was like, cool.
Wall of steel.
Yeah, because we were there, like some people were holding, waiting, because they weren't aggressive at the gate. They weren't holding it. It was fairly clear. Like there wasn't really anything. We were like, this feels...
Like they want to draw you out?
Yeah. This feels not right.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a go and harry them command, doesn't it? It's like go in, freak him out a little bit, maybe draw him into the woods, but awful. Breakthrough into Midgate. So I'm guessing, did Dawn get there before Navarre?
I think so, because there was Navarre that went through with that push of Dawnish, but it was not any of my lot or any of the ones that I was kind of around with. But I think some of Navarre did push with that initial push with Dawn.
So we get into the woods. It's pretty thick already from going in, and it's that awful thing where there is a lot of Druge, a huge gap, and then a lot of you. And you're like, we need to, because they maneuver quickly, we're like, we need to deal with this quickly before we get wrapped. I'm with the Winged Lions, I'm with Sidlaw, and we see this massive bug charging towards us.
Oh, yeah.
Bugs look so cool.
They did.
Yeah.
Charge towards the bug, and then as it does, it fucking tries to swing for me with its big old fucking claws.
Pieces.
I get kind of like duck out of the way. Drew's line comes in. Lose sight of Sidlaw and Cecilia. Just gone. Chasing down this bug. And then we can't see them stood up. We're pushed back 10 feet. And then we've got a Drew's line in front of us and we don't know where they are. We're freaking out. We're trying to go over there. Like, where's Sidlaw? Has anyone seen him going up and down? Thinking in my head, 30, 29, 28, 27, because it's Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And we're running up and down the line. I have a bond ring with one of those people. So I'm like, running up and down trying to find where they are. And Jean, who is the retainer to Lady Cecilia and the most handsome man in the Empire,
So handsome.
turns to me and is like, we need to push through. I just looked at him and went, Jean. And he went, I don't fucking care. We're getting them back. And then we look up and he says, we find them basically where there's a tree, some bushes, Druge, us. And we're like trying to break through as best as we can. And then eventually Jean basically forces us to lead a charge forward. And we push these Druge back and back. Apparently, I don't even know how long this had been, but we get to them lying on the floor. Apparently, the Druge were about to start like breaking their teeth and stuff. They were about to take the gift of Kayla, so they wouldn't be tortured. Does everyone know what the gift of Kayla is?
No, actually.
Kayla is an Eternal who's extended a gift to Imperial citizens, which is if they find themselves in the captured or behind the enemy lines of both Druge and Valorn, you can ask for her mercy, and after 30 seconds of appropriate roleplay, you turn to dust.
Oh, that's cool.
You cannot be whispered through the Black Gate, but you pass through to the Labyrinth, and it's just so you don't have to bear the horrors of the Druge, and you're going to get turned into a tortured soul.
That really ends your character, though. There's no dramatic roleplay after.
They were about to start
Wow.
to dust themselves. But then Blake was saying that he did like a story on Facebook that he saw John appear, like standing between them and the Druge, and they managed to force them back.
That's crazy.
Obviously, more than 30 seconds had passed. So he dragged them back to like a bit further back to a safer place. And it's just tears. We're like 15 minutes into the battle.
Yeah.
We've just started.
That shows how
crazy.
fucked it was so quick.
And it was awful. We had they were both crying their eyes out. Jean was like Jean is Cecilia's retainer, was just like sobbing, holding their hands. Everyone like just in pieces. Then Captain Charge says to Cecilia, her or him, pointing to me and Lady Lordine. And Cecilia says her, so then Lordine becomes captain of the Winged Lions for the rest of the thing. And everyone's mourning, and I just stand up. I'm like, we need to go. We've got a job to do. We need to leave. And I just put my hand on, Charger's shoulder, on Cecilia's shoulder. Just can't say anything. Absolutely wrecked already. stand up, and we go. We push off into the woods. Moments later, I see my good friends, the Ambulance, and I see Lady Amicia, who's the senator for Semahold, and quite possibly, I think I wouldn't be wrong in saying that her, Captain Charge, and Cecilia were like the closest of friends. And I just look at her and she's like, Tristan, you okay? I just don't say anything. She's like, what? I was
What
like,
do you say?
It's Charge. And she went, what the fuck do you mean? And I'm just like, Charge and Cecilia, they're fallen. She's like, what? And I just grab her. I was like, we've got a job to do. Keep going. I see the captain and everyone I'm telling to just can't believe it. No one can believe they're dead. No one can. It's like every person I tell. And I can tell that I look horrific because everyone keeps going, everything all right, Tristan? And I'm just like, no. Just like, absolutely, just like white knuckle grip on my sword. I think from that point, I was just changeling fury just for the rest of that fight. I at one point was like, I went to a little line. You know, this happens a lot. You see like a line of like 6 or 7 Imperials and 3 Druge, and they're kind of going back and forth. I just went between the line, just pushed and went to kill the Druge. The line came with me, and I had my sword at the throat of the Druge. The Druge think if they die scared, they don't cross the abyss. So just be like, do you feel fear? Do you feel fear? And then just slit their throat as we execute, and just marching off. No. Messed up, awful. For the rest, that was the energy I took for this horrific fight that still had an hour and a half left.
Crazy.
It went sideways so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then it was hard for the next hour, but I don't think we had any major losses for a long time. What was it like from your perspective before we met up again? Because we met up again later.
Yeah. See, that was when we crossed paths. That was quite early on for me.
Yeah.
It went very south after we left you. It went very south.
Because oh god,
yeah,
awful. Sorry, keep going.
No, it was fucked.
Yeah.
We got on. We entered the woods. We went right, and there was like a few groups, and everyone immediately just split. Some went after one group, some went after the other group, but there wasn't quite enough for each group. But if we didn't tackle each group, then we would have been wrapped, and then we all would have been fucked. And it very quickly got very real, and it got to the point where I don't really know what had happened. I think I had obviously been crying a lot for the weekend. I hadn't really been very good at keeping myself hydrated.
Did you eat?
I did eat some things, yes. But there was just a point where I got really hot really quickly, and then I got really lightheaded. And the next thing I know, I'm sat on the ground. I was like, oh shit. Like, this is not an icy thing. I was like, oh, see, I'm not very well. And I was pretty fucked. And we had a couple of our favourite vines, Juniper, and I can't remember. I'll be able to find their names if I look. But Jack and Mindy, OC, fucking 2 of the loveliest people we ever meet. But they were there, and they were looking after me, and they gave me some like sweets and some water, and I kind of took a minute, and I was like, right, okay, I need to fucking get my head back in the game. Like, I actually need to go and do something here. So I got back up. I was feeling a bit better, so I got back up, and I'd returned back to where the group is. Most of us had reconvened at that point, and everyone seemed to be up and okay. There were rumours that Ronan was down, and I was like, oh fuck, can't lose Ronan. But he was okay, he was up. And we just kept pushing, and then similar with Tristan, this big beetle thing was just there swinging and swiping. We were like, oh shit. And then there was just line after line of Druge, and they just were not relenting.
No, absolutely.
I think the worst So for me, the worst bit, I know there was a few bits. We got into a bit of an opening where the Regio was, because we managed to claim that. I met you when we were hunting for the ritualists.
Yes.
Because you started marching one way, and I said, Neve, is there a reason you're going that way? Which very much, I remember at the time, it sounded like I just told you off for going in a random direction. You turned around to defend yourself. I was like, no, that's not, that came out wrong. That's not what I meant. I meant,
Do you need backup?
do you need backup?
Why are we going this way?
That was like, I just wanted to check that we're not just following you for no reason.
I can't remember what I had replied. I think it was just something like...
you turned around, you did turn around annoyed, but you turned around like, you're like, no, it's fine. But you basically, it was like, in a way that, I can't remember what the response was, but it was a response which made me twig. And I also heard myself, I was like, that sounded like I was saying that.
I remember saying like, oh, well, we're going this way because we're chasing this. You can do what you want to do, but we're going this way. Come if you want, don't if you don't. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, we're going this way.
I think as I saw you and I just went, kill them all.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm planning on
Yeah, at least like tears in my eyes, red in the face, like, kill them all.
It was a really good moment because like I'd started like shouting at this point because I didn't know where Rick was. I had a fair group of people around me, like a decent amount of the Dreads, decent amount of just Navarre. So I was just like, do you know what? I'm not officially line captaining, but I'm gonna take. We have to take control here. Like we have to have some direction, and I'll give that.
That's good.
So started shouting, and I could see Tristan and some Dornish to the side, and I was like, do you know what? Time to show off. Yeah. I was like, I could do this. Nice. But we actually found the ritualist.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So we were fighting in and around, but just before I saw you, we having a bit of a scrap with some Druge in the big, tall, long ferns, and one of the Druge hit me really hard, like on my boob, but like it actually really hurt, and I went, "Ow, that was my tit!" like really loudly, and a ref came up and went, that looked like that was a pretty hard hit, and just produced like some kind of sleazy PI, produced a traumatic wound card.
Oh my God.
like with 2 fingers. And I was like, fuck's sake. So then I'm just there like, my tit! My fucking boob!
God's sake.
Murdoch lies me down in the long ferns, does some surgery. It was just some internal bleeding, it was fine. Did some surgery.
Internal bleeding in your tit.
But I was like, can you make him a bit smaller, please? But Twig came along and was like, you all right? And we're like, yeah, you? They were like, yeah, fine. We're like, cool.
What was Twig doing over there?
Just being Twig, just twigging along.
From my perspective, like, Varushka were all trapped in, like, we were, like, at a gate. I don't know which one's top gate or whatever, but we were trapped at the gate. And there was enemy all around us. Mm-hmm. So fuck knows how Twig is wandering around.
Just being Twig.
Twig just does what Twig does.
We came onto the battlefield and I was there towards the back of Varusha going, oh, God, I hope they don't attack from behind us because I'm at the back. And then I hear shouting coming from behind me. I turn around and I go, shit. I'm not really equipped to fight. I'm just a little major healer guy. So I'm like running and keeping up with the healer block, but also trying to keep an eye on the pine wheels. But Varushka, we're quite a small unit anyway. And we pretty much stayed together. I remember hearing someone be like shouting to our commander, like, we need to go in and give them backup over there now. She's like, we're literally fighting the enemy back. There's barely enough of us here as it is. We can't go and give them backup. So we get rid, like, I don't know if we got rid of them or we ended up like also just moving as we were fighting or whatever, like backing up as we were fighting, and we end up stuck at this gate and we were there the entire battle and we were so squished in, and like I was expecting at some point for the enemies to start to sort of clear off a little bit as we like worked our way through them, but no, just constantly full on.
Must have been at spawn point.
Yeah, maybe it was I think it's top gate.
Is it the one right at the very far end of the field?
So, yeah.
Yeah, so you like where you've got the main field and you've got the one that's kind of near the bottom bit of the woods, and you've got the one right at the very top, like kind of like if you've just entered the field, like right at like the top left, like at the far end where the field.
Yeah.
Top gate. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
we've held that at a battle. And it is a spawn point.
Yeah, and
can be
literally there was. I'm pretty sure it was the Marcher Archers. Like lined up on the other side, but not obviously monstering, but lined up on the other side of a hedgerow to us. And I'm there like, I'm not safe behind people because there's archers now. I got shot in the knee twice. Obviously got it healed up each time. Fortunately, I was near my mage friend, so I was like, help, like lying, like, same knee again. And he helped me out, healed me up, whatever. I did loads of healing. I had like a total of 10 mana for that fight between like Mage Bloods and having like my own personal mana plus like extra mana that I've put points into. And I used 9 between restore limbs and heals. And it was crazy. Like, honestly, I literally the polar opposite to the first fight that I did, where I'd only used like 2 or 3 mana. I didn't need to use my Mage Bloods, and yeah, it was crazy.
That was wild.
The thing where it all went sideways was like the big crush. I think I saw. No, did I see? Were you guys part of the group that saved a bunch of Dornish?
We got saved by a bunch of Dornish, but I'll get onto that shortly. How was
Banner bearing going,
yeah.
Alex?
I was just about to ask the same.
Were you waving your flag like a little champ?
It was like trying to play table tennis with myself because there was never one solid group of dread shields. The emulsion had split very early on. So I was running over to, I think it was Carrick or somebody, but it was like, you need to get to Neve. So I got to Neve and I was like, you all right? And you were like, my tit! And I was like, oh, fuck. So I dragged Neve back to get healed. And then I was like, where the fuck is Rook? And because obviously I'm not doing much good while you're there on the ground. So I was like, I'm going to go find Rook. Ran over to Rook, my little flag, and then someone...
Imagine the animation like the Muppets.
Yeah.
You running back and
It was, yeah. Finally got over to Rook and I was like, what are we doing? He's like, I don't know. And then... Leg
great.
runs off like a fucking spaniel. He was so hard to like tie down.
He always is. He's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it was good fun though. Watching him running around. At one point, he ran off, disappeared behind a bunch of trees where some orcs had gone, and it was like I don't know, like a clip from Scooby Doo or something. And then he came out the other end unscathed, and all you heard while he was behind there was Cleve, and then he just popped out the other end and ran off like Bambi. Yeah, but no, it was hectic, and there are mixed reviews of my banner bearing abilities. Some of them positive, some of them not so. I hit a guy in the head quite hard. If you're listening, I'm sorry.
With the banner, or you
with the banner? Because obviously it's real wood. I wasn't using it as a weapon.
No, but you like.
And to be fair,
into it
it was more like he hit the banner. I was
you then.
stood behind this guy, and he threw his head back in a laugh and clocked
Oh,
right
that
on it.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And at one point, I walked through a front line of Dornish. So there was a shield wall of Dornish. And at one point, somehow, I walked through it into no man's land.
I'm just picturing like a Tesco door, like, bing.
And this guy apparently put his hand on my shoulder and was like, oh, dude, this is our like shield wall. And I was like, oh, sorry. And then walked back into the shield wall. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
Where were you going?
I have no idea.
Baron's best day ever.
Yeah, it was good fun, but also I didn't have much of a fear of death because I just died, so I wanted to get real stuck in. So I had a lot of fun with the banner in one hand, sword in the other, smacking people. But
With the banner.
Did you,
with the banner,
did you miss being the cleave machine?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if Steve did empower me that battle, but he's actually hung up his rod.
Oh,
Now Otis has passed. He's there's no more cleave machine, and he's swapping the rod out for something else, I believe. So.
interesting.
Yeah, it should be good fun. But yeah, it was. So there was a lot of that running around like a fly, and then it all went to shit when
Even more shit.
we got into the long grass and we started to go single file.
So we were going through to find this ritualist just after we had passed Tristan and his company, and we went off because we had heard that the ritualist was this way. So we were going through the long grass. So if you've ever been like in the woods, you'll know where the woods are next to Top Gate, and then we were further than that. Like we were in the thick of it. Like there was no trodden path, no nothing. This was just genuine jungle. And yeah, we were walking through, and it was barely even single file. We were trying to weave our way through. And then we got there. We were so out of the way, like you couldn't even hear the battle anymore. Like we were just so out of the way. And we had found the ritualist, and we engaged. And there was probably about maybe 20 of them, but there was a good like 30 of us. You know, we gave it a good scrap. The fight was over before the rest of us had even reached, like got through, because we were walking single file through this. Like, it was a jungle. It was just so entangled and entwined with itself. It was crazy. And the scrap was over before I'd even got there. And for some of us, we're like, oh, okay, cool. So we'll turn back. And then as we were coming back, more Druge appeared from where we had just killed them. We were like, shit, double time, like, go, get through this fucking grass, like, go. They'd caught up with us, so people were fighting off on the back whilst everyone was trying to walk forward and get through the grass. And it got to a point where there were no refs nearby either. Like, there were no refs to go, well, hang on, like, slow it down, because it got really dangerous. Like, there was a point where I'd actually tripped up and I'd fallen into the brambles, and like Dill and a couple of others were trying to like pull me up as I was like tangled in, and like a couple of the Druge actually helped like pull me up because they were like, oh no, this is like unsafe now. And I was like, oh please, I just want to live, and I just like toddled away. But so we were trying to escape that as there was people holding these Druge fighting as the rest of us are trying to walk through, and we get to this little bit of a clearing. We're like, okay, it's a bit safe to walk now, and we, go through these bushes and brambles, and we come across another group of Druge, but there was a lot of them, and there was a very, very small clearing with a lot of Druge there. We were like, fuck, they are behind us there. There is a lot of them there, and there's a lot of them in front of us. Like, there is about 4 times the amount of them than there is us. I was like, we do not have a good chance here. Like, this is really shit. So we're trying to fight, and we're cautious of our back. We were just like, what do we do? There's people still in bushes that are waist high at this point. Like, we're people aren't even in the clearing. We're like, shit, what the fuck do we do? And I see a group of Dornish. So I'm shouting, I'm waving, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, like, help, we're Imperials, help, we need help. And it is none other than Gaston and Defrost.
What a handsome bastard.
And I was like, I know that boy, help me. So, but they didn't quite see us to begin with. And I was like, shit, like this is not helping. So I'd started to walk through the bushes, like next to where the Druge are. So like they were in this little like teardrop shaped clearing. So I'd started to walk and just I looked at the cuts on my legs afterwards, like I'd torn my legs to pieces. So I started to like walk through and kind of like run through all the brambles and stuff, just so I didn't have to run through a Druge wall, but just so I could get closer and shout. And even if I had to like throw myself at the line, at least as they're wailing on me, I could shout and hopefully they would hear me to say, go help them, go save them.
I was watching Chloe do this and I was thinking like, if only I had some like something big like a flag that I could wave to try and get attention right now. And I was like, oh wait. So I crawled into the long grass behind Chloe and started waving the banner in the air above her. And I think it was, I don't know, but I think it was the banner that they saw. And then they followed the banner down and there's a little person at the bottom of that banner. And they just saw you waving and screaming like, help.
I'm shouting like, we're Imperials, we're trapped, we need help. And then, so Defrost and led courageously by Gaston just came bawling behind this big group of Druge that were blocking us in. They kind of steamrolled. We managed to just run through and get back. It was back to the centre part of the woods, like where the Regio was. So we managed to get there. So we're out of the long grass. I thought, okay, it can't get much worse than that. That was horrific. Like that, I was like, I thought we were all dead. I genuinely thought we were all going to die at that point. Yeah. But I was like, okay, cool. Right, we're safe now. It should be plain sailing from here.
So
yes.
So I think that one of the things that made this really hard was we had to hold a circular position for a long time, and that primes you for a death donut.
Yeah.
Now, before this point, everything was falling to shit. Loads of people were dying. I had been holding a line whilst a whole load of Dawn charged up behind us to run past to go liberate a bunch of Dornish that had been stuck behind the line as well to bring them out. I think there's a lot of people getting strung out and caught. And then there's someone reassessing the plan. Someone is talking to like a group of people. And then the captain of my lance is speaking to the captain of another lance because they're trying to work out what to do and where best to go. Captain of my lance is Earl Maudine Dulac.
Drink.
And while she's trying to work out what to do, someone turns around and tells her to shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's fighting talk, that is.
She looks up, and then less than a second later, I've pushed past like 3 people and I'm up in his face. And basically, some very heated words were exchanged. I think my words, I think I said, if you speak to my earl like that again, I'll put you in the fucking ground. Some more words were exchanged. And then I was told to meet him in the Glory Square
Oh.
after the battle.
Cash me outside.
Yeah, more or less. And I was like, yeah, done. Got dragged away by a friend who was trying to kind of calm me down, but I was just,
Seething.
yeah, I'd lost too much already. I was furious. Lordine gave me a bit of a, all right, maybe don't do that, but thanks. Then came the donut. More of an egg than a donut. It was like a squashed circle.
Yeah. It was very.
Gradually, the one thing I saw was we were getting squashed and getting pushed back, and I saw Gaston go down, and then I drew step in front of him. And I tell you, he was 5 yards from me, on his knees, amongst the Druge, and we couldn't get to him. 29, 28, 27.
No.
And there's someone behind me who was quite a bit shorter than me. I turned around and was like, just so you know, I'm not going to step into you. I know you're there. It's all good. We're all crushed in this egg, like trying to hold on what's going on. Then it's time to leave. I think at this point, it was only Dawn on the field because I think we were last to come out. I think Dawn was the last to come out the gate.
A lot of Navarre was left very late on.
So in which case, that will be... So what happened was, as this big egg is there getting squashed, it's time to leave, the egg pops and a small stream of Dornish start to fly out. And it's like this thin line that is 3 people thick. On one side, shields. On the other side, shields. Down the middle, ants.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
running down. Terrible, terrible idea. Nothing else we could do.
Yeah.
There were Druge swarming. Druge could have crumpled that immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a similar thing, but we didn't have shields. We just had people. We just had peoples, and it wasn't even 3 people thick. It was like 2 people thick. There was a point where I was back to back with someone, Druge in front of me, person Imperial behind me, Druge in front of them. Like we couldn't move there. It was just so squished.
Yeah. All I remember was we were running down. I was holding my shield up as people went past, and I looked up and I saw a continuous line of Imperials. Looked up, Imperials, a line. Looked left, looked right again. No more Imperials. Drew running towards us, and we were like, "Fuck!" It's like trying to get everyone past as quick as possible. I found out basically like a huge chunk of my lance had got stuck when that line had broken.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I didn't know where they were. We're trying to get off the field. We go around, and the Druze just keep coming.
Yeah.
They chased us down out the gate. I don't think they should have done that.
Apparently, they were told
Not to.
intimidate and
Yeah.
not to chase.
Oh,
Yeah, when
I
we
can
were
clarify
leaving.
because I was in those groups.
Yeah.
So originally it was intimidate.
Yeah.
Then a red shirt officially said harass.
Yeah.
So that was effectively okay. Well, fine. We will let you get off the field. That is what the order is. And then they decided you're off the chain.
Did they say that?
They said harass.
Well, harass.
With-
harass.
There's no
harass.
definition to harass.
I'm pretty sure slaughter. Isn't
Harass means
Harassing and murdering are two
badger.
very
That doesn't mean
different
cut
things.
people down. Because I
Yeah.
saw people go down because their legs were getting cleaved.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Yeah,
That shouldn't have
harass is
happened.
more like
So-
a hit, and then like they
Yeah, harass should have been
do
intimidating.
some damage on the way out. Don't stop them from.
Yeah.
The monsters
Yeah.
were so aggressive, and like it was like I said, there were so many points, but it was getting unsafe because there were so
Yeah.
many clumps of people, and
It's also just like unfun because because we're all briefed of like once you're leaving, more or less, and the battle's done, you go. So there's a few people like, cool, we're going towards the gate, and then hot pursuit was happening. I was like, this shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But I was going back, and then 2 of my friends from the ambulance got cut down, and I'm with their Earl, and he just looks and was like, no, trying to get Dornish to come back to go get him, but everyone's going at the gate, and we literally have to drag him back through the gate. Through the Sentinel gate. As we get on the other side, he's like screaming to go back through. A couple of people so once you come back through the gate, you can't go back in. 2 people like hammering on the gate because they want to kind of go back in. People are pouring out. I don't know where my lance are. I see one of the people that went down. I saw someone they'd been dating, and they just found out, and it was just screaming and wailing from everyone on that side of the gate. I didn't know where anyone was. I later found out that Viridian, Lord Dean, and John were in the same blob. And I'd got cut off from the Lions way before this. Like it all just kind of dissolved.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for Viridian having cast a ritual on himself and Lord Dean, they both would have died because they had the ability to do Relentless, which they wouldn't have had if he hadn't done this ritual. Jean, I can't remember the details of it, but Jean was basically like trying to get everyone back, and he got cut down. I think he was cleaved. Just turned to the rest of them and just went run as like the Druze swarmed over him.
No.
I didn't find out until I saw him. I saw him in the field and I thought he'd got back. And then I heard him introduce himself to someone as John. And I was like, oh.
Oh no.
That's not John. That's John. Bastard. Yeah.
So we were in that big clusterfuck in the middle of the woods where everyone was just surrounded. And we were starting to retreat, and then it was the double single file line, the 2x2, and we were just getting absolutely wailed on. And then there were a few refs that were like, just they were saying to the monsters, like, hold off, just let them walk through, they're leaving, just give them a tap and just let them go. But then there were a few that were just constantly wailing, and the ref was like, well, just calm it down, that like just go, like ushering people through.
Yeah.
We were like, fuck, I had no idea where anyone was. I couldn't see anybody I knew. Like, I was like, I've had no fucking idea. Like, I didn't know where anyone was or what was going on. And there was, like you said, like just a group kind of just, when like cells divide, and it's just, that's what happened. There was just a group of Imperials and Druge, and then us. And I could see Leg and Corin in the group of blob in front of us. And I just scream over at them. I was like, Leg, Corin! And I didn't know what I was going to do. I don't know what I was doing, shouting. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And Leg, previously referred to as a spaniel, just appropriately legged it through the Druze. He had enough hits, just pushed his way through and just threw himself into our line. And we got him up and we just shoved it. I was like, we're going, come on. So we ran through, but Corin tried, and he got cleaved again. He got cut down, and he was like, right, well, that's it. Like, fair enough, he got me. And he was saying that while he was down, he was just constantly wailed on. And he turned around and was just like, yeah, all right, fine, you got me. But I don't understand that. Like, if someone's already down on the floor, like, you don't need to keep hammering them.
We've
just
said
fucking leave them be.
Like, sometimes it's obvious when someone's like down.
Yeah.
Like, we've only got so
especially
many
in
hit
miasma
points.
as well. But
Yeah.
we're like, fine. So I didn't realise that Corin had gone down. I'd just seen Leg bolt through, and I was like, okay, we're kind of going. And but Leg was saying Corin was there. He was meant to be right behind me, and we looked, and he wasn't there. And he was like, he like got this big sadness in his face, and he was like, he was meant to be right behind me.
Oh.
So we were like, right, okay, fuck, we've lost Corin. Right, okay, right, let's not tell Orwin, because she'll do something stupid like
you would have done.
Yeah. I was like, we need to just get her. We need to find everyone. There was a final push getting through Midgate, got onto the open field, seen a few dreads. We were like, okay, we had said about Corin. Orwin was on the floor getting healed. I was like, okay, we do not tell her until we are through that gate. Like, let's get her up and let's get her off this field. She is now my priority. Let's make sure she's away and gone. So as we're leaving the field, Druge funnel through the gate and start chasing us and fighting us on the field. And we were like, what the fuck? Like,
Wait, through the Sentinel Gate?
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wait, the little stones?
No.
No.
That was the little stones are the cut off.
Not the gate,
Yeah.
as in a gate. Not the Sentinel gate, just a different gate.
So that's you know where like you've got the woods and then it leads. There's the gate that leads into the back of the woods.
Yeah.
Kind of know where I mean.
I honestly, I'm going to get out a map later and get you to show me which one's which
Okay.
because I only know one gate really.
All right. Oh,
think.
we'll show you. But yeah, so we're through and we're on the main field now, and we're like, okay, right, we're all retreating. We can see pretty much everyone behind us. There isn't many people behind us now at this point. And we're trying to get through. And then, like I said, we start getting engaged again. We were like, what? Fucking leave us alone. We're like, we'll leave
For
it.
a minute, then I thought like you and Orin, is it?
Orwin.
Orwin are
Yeah.
already widows and you're getting engaged again.
I mean, Neve tried.
I mean, yeah. Sorry.
But
yeah, that's a bit wild.
yeah, so we're trying, and I was just like, look, we're not fighting. We're just fucking off. Just run. We just get through the gate. Like we're going, and yeah, we just try and get through the gate.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I just have no idea what happened. No idea what the fuck had happened. But so we managed to get through the gate. Whoever had managed to make it back, and we stood there. We have to tell Orwin what's happened, and we're trying to break the news. She's obviously breaking down. The rest of the group are breaking down, and we can see all these people coming out the gate. There was not a single happy face coming out that gate. Every single person had the most horrific look on their face.
Absolutely.
The sadness. And then, coming down the path is Anwin. So Navarre's hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, big blow for Neve. And he's surrounded by others, and we're just there like, fuck. Like, she's gone.
Real big
So-
names, yeah.
So many key figures were lost. It was fucked.
I don't know all these military people, but I know the questionable choices guy who does the sandwiches, he died, and orc fried rice, he died.
Oh, I think the biggest hit was when we were just about free of this death sandwich. Have you ever been in a queue or like behind some slow walkers on a path?
Oh my god, yeah.
There was a point where we were walking and there were Druge behind us and they were slaying everybody and we needed to move forward. And there were these two bards in front just playing a little tune on the
Oh my
guitar
God.
and having a little chat. And my voice had already pretty much gone from Friday for screaming for my life when I died, which I can't talk about. But and I just shouted, move, 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 move. And I didn't stop. I did for maybe like 2 minutes, and slowly but surely people started to get the message, and we started to move forward before we were.
I bet that was cathartic. You know, having to experience that on the street when you can't say it.
Yeah, I was like, do it. Well, there was a moment where I was stood there. I was like, oh, I wish this would hurry up, and I was like, hang on, this is war. I can do it.
I can shout at them.
So we managed to get through. Yeah.
Speaking of bards.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, we
yeah.
got to that safe space, which I say it was a safe space. It was a bubble that was 360 degrees surrounded, but at least we were safe for a second. And I just saw Randall, and he was just beating his drum, but he was looking at all the Druge, which were the wave of Druge, which were flying in, following us. And I was thinking, dude, you're facing the wrong way. Like, you need to run. And B, if those drumsticks aren't Larp safe, then you're dead. And that was the last time we saw him. And we've heard later on how he died. So he was killed, and then they took his loot hat, wore it, and danced around his body as he laid on the ground, bleeding out, dying.
It's fucking savage.
It was horrible.
So was he already dead at this point that you saw him playing his drum?
No, he just had the look of death in his eyes,
He just knew it was over.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, I knew it was over for him because I was like, you don't have a weapon.
What, because of where he was stood, or
Because of where he was stood. He was stood staring at a wave of Druge
well, why wasn't he running?
that had been
is my
following us.
question.
I don't know.
Fantastic question.
And he was stood
Yeah.
staring at them beating his drum. Well, maybe he'd accepted death at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
But
Sounds
yeah,
like
as I
it.
say, the fact he only had drumsticks and no LARP weapon and wasn't moving in the right direction, I was just like, I think this is be the last time I see
Bye,
Randall.
Randall.
Yeah. So then, yeah, we managed to get through that tiny little avenue of people, and I managed to find Rook, who finally
I think
gave
he just couldn't live without Otis.
Randall.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But I found Rook, who finally gave some direction and was like, "Yeah, we're getting out of here." I was like, "Sweet." So I grabbed the banner, screamed just over and over again for probably another 2 minutes, "Dread shields, this way!" and tried to get any dread shield that could see or hear me out. And then, saw Orwin at the gate. It was at the gate that we broke the news to her, did you say?
Yeah, because she was asking where Corin was.
Oh, yeah, because we walked her back, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I completely agree with what you're saying. The sad faces, usually when you walk out of battle and you see everybody around the hospital, there's a couple sad faces, a couple shocked faces, people getting healed and whatnot. But you just walked out to a sea of people
Screaming,
wailing. Yeah, it was insane.
There was not a single, even just passive face.
Not a dry eye.
Every single person was shell-shocked.
So how about you, you devious bastard? Did you enjoy that?
I'm not gonna lie, it was probably the most fun monstering I have ever had.
Yeah, I knew you would have.
Like that morning, me and my jackdaws were in a great mood. None of it had died the previous battle. No major Carter fuck ups. It was just get through this in the EMU, and the game is sorted. So we were the Jack Druge. When everybody went down, we would flex in front of them in dramatic poses.
Fuck's sake.
Wow.
And use, oh yeah, should have used your gains. Anyway, we started off the battle right at the back, so we spawned in hands up behind enemy lines, so we were to wait 5 minutes as you guys marched on. Obviously not
I
there.
saw you. I was like, fuck.
Actually, I did see you as well. I was like, okay, if you see that one with the golden crown dying on the floor, flex over him. Say he has weak calves. So, as soon as the 5 minutes were up, all the Clankers and Navarre had gone forward, leaving, I believe it was Urizen and Varushka at the back. And we just sprinted at them. And we kept poking them, hitting them. Hence, Varushka and Urizen were probably low on resources and power points.
What instructions were you given?
Harass.
Oh, was
Kill.
it? Wow.
Make it hard. So we charged them down, started hitting them, strike downs, all sorts. All the Druge were equipped with one Truva Vein, and another Druge could apply it, because we're all masters of healers, so we didn't need a particular healer to give us the Truva Vein. We couldn't give it to ourselves, but any other Druge could use the Truva Vein on us. And every Druge, I think, were on their A game that day, because everyone was remembering, I have Stay With Me. So we were all, as soon as one went down, we'd stay with each other, go back to the healer, and get back in. So yeah,
Wild.
we harassed Urizen and Varushka all the way to top gate, which I eventually died, spawned back in, away from my EMU unit, and basically go on Tom's grand adventure, harassing people in the woods. There was one point where a load of Dornish got strung out of the main battlefield. They were kind of off to the side. I took one down. As he was bleeding out, someone went and executed him. I was like, mate, don't take that, because we can't technically execute you as monsters. I don't know if he misunderstood me, because that was the longest fucking 30-second bleed counter of all time, because he was down for about 5 minutes.
Oh.
So I don't think he either didn't understand or just didn't pay attention to the miasma.
You might have confused him.
Yeah, but either way, couldn't execute him. One point, Andy Connell was really good. The Dornish were being pushed into a bush, to which he was like, just stop. It took a few times to stop the Druge. I think we were just on ultimate harassment mode. I don't know what was in the water, but
Crack.
violence. Eventually, we let them out, so props to Andy Connell for getting the players out safely. He did have to say it about 4 times, like herding sheep, like, go now. I don't know if he thought, oh, this is the Druge tricking us. No, this is a safety call of get the fuck out of there. So push those lot. Yeah, there was the big crush by the gate. I remember there was quite a few stop hitting you at that point. And yeah, eventually I end up on the field, to which, as I say, it went from let them go, intimidate, to harass. I think you lot were meant to go through the woods to escape. No one went through the woods, so you just got hit hard. We were split into units of 12. which eventually split down into units of 5. And it was attack the blobs and just pick off the ones who were at the corners.
Fucked.
So they were being, picked off. I think we expected you to fight back more, but no one was really fighting back. It was just run.
We were just trying to get
We
the
were
fuck
We're
out
trying
of
to
there.
just, stay alive.
Everyone was just spent at that point. It was like, I need to get out.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a point where we stopped. Like, it was just physically
Yeah.
exhausting as well as mentally.
Yeah, I saw my friend who Endorn Pennell, who the previous day had cleaved my legs and kept going at me. So I was like, fuck you, mate. Strike down.
Revenge.
At one point, because our healers were all out of Cerulean Mazarine, we could keep getting people getting healed because there was plenty of True Vein, but nothing to restore healed with limbs. So one of our Druge was like, lost me leg, mate. Let me go out with style. So me and another Druge got him and just chucked him into the enemy lines to continue fighting like an utter Chad. And then it did turn to basically the ones who were left on the field were basically cardio is your cheat. Get through the Druge that are left. And a lot of them did die in that final run to the gate.
Yeah. That's where we lost Corin. That's when we lost Anwin. Because I spoke to her. I spoke to the phys rep for Anwin afterwards, and she explained their whole death, and it was in that bit as well.
Yeah, it was utterly brutal. It was just like, take one Imperial down, chase after the next one, and take them down. And that is a very condensed monster's note of the joy of monstering that day.
Lovely.
But you had
Sounds like a
fun.
great time.
I had a fucking fantastic time. It's very rare that it's not line battles because I usually end up yotening. So be able to go full Druge. And I think because a lot of you guys as Jotun hit as hard yesterday, it was punch back.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, I had a fantastic time.
I'm so glad.
Good for you.
One of us needed to.
So,
How were you feeling after it all, Alex?
Yeah, pretty good.
It was hard.
He
Yeah,
didn't even notice what was going on. He was just running around.
yeah. I'd almost completely lost my voice.
Yeah.
Just screaming dread shields just over and over again. Trying to get any of them to see me to get me out. But so yeah, I was pretty tired. I didn't have much of a clue what was going on. And then I looked over and Orwin was just walking, staring into space, leaning on Neve. And I was like, oh, shit. It looks like we've lost Corin. And went and put my arm around her other side and we just kind of walked her back to camp. And then, yeah, when we were there, we sat down and obviously we were still all venomed. So we needed something to get rid of the venom. So Oily made us a special tea. I wasn't really paying much attention. Something to get rid of it, whatever it was. And he did it in the kettle of ale. So, because it was in the hallowed kettle, not only did we get rid of our venom, but it also gave us some extra courage or something like that, I think. Which was nice. And
Poured it from the spout into people's mouths from the kettle.
Yeah, and Orwin's roleplay was incredible. She was just like the pinnacle of the grieving wife partner. So we were consoling her, and then it was time to have a little ceremony to say goodbye to Corin, which was just tough. After so much death and everything that had happened, we're now saying, like the very end of the event, we're now saying goodbye to someone who's very dear to all of us. So,
Because Corin was one of our Grims. Corin had so much to offer, and much like everyone on that battlefield was taken before they should have gone. It was fucking awful.
yeah.
What was the Notes of Dawn like?
So we had a wedding.
Oh,
Lady Cecilia de Gorvan, who is now terminal, was getting married to our egregore. She was supposed to be getting married next year. So they had a wedding ceremony in the Glory Square while she was bleeding out in a chair. So 2 knights errant of House Gorvan had fallen, including, I think, a father and son.
oh,
The son got left behind, but the father managed to get back because he died at the same time as Cecilia and Sidlaw. Big old Glory Square pile-up, massive queue to speak to Sidlaw and Cecilia. The the Gorvan curse of nobody being able to get married has finally ended because they got married. For years, like test of ardors have been fatal, but they at least managed to get married. Everyone was lining up to say goodbye and thank you and stuff. And I was waiting for a lot of people to go through, but I went up to Sidlaw, and I said, I know I never, because I'd considered testing into the house. And I said, I know I never tested into your house. He goes, you didn't need to. I said, but I've always considered you like a brother to me.
Oh.
And then I said, I don't know if Jean ever told you what my personal heraldry was. And he said, no. And as you know, I fought with the winged lions. And I said, on one side it's a Pegasus, and the other side it's a winged lion. And then he maybe swear an oath, which I'm not going to say on air. And then he testimonied me as Sidlaw's chosen.
Oh.
And I was just like, I was just in bits.
Yeah.
Just sat there. I went to speak to Cecilia. I said, terrible time for you to give me this. And it was the bond ring. So obviously I'd felt everything. And she was like, oh, I didn't even fucking think about that. A little bit later, we go into the Gorvan tent. And Sidlaw, he gave me this shiny new wing lion ring. And he said, give me that. And took it off my finger. And took his own off. So that belongs to Edric de Gorvan, who was like a member of, like a really prominent member of the house. Everyone knows who Edric de Gorvan is because they've had to say his name loads. There's loads of stuff to do with him. So this is yours now. Look after it. Then it was Sidlaw giving away all the stuff he had.
Oh.
Just handing things out to people, or like basically handing things out of importance. And then he held in his hand a sword. He looked at me and looked back at who had just been named the new Earl and said, what do you think? And he goes, I think it makes sense. So Sidlaw stands up, gets this sword and says, this is Edric's pride, and wraps the belt around me and ties it.
Oh.
And says, this is now yours. I was like, stood there. And again, I was thinking back to the fact that, 3 years ago I started this game, joined the Winged Lions, fought with them and fighting with them ever since. Really looked up to Sidlaw. And then I had his sword, his ring, I'd been named his chosen, his pauldrons. I was just like,
Intense.
yeah. The Tristan that day also lost his childhood hero, the Black Unicorn of Bleakvale, the senator for Weirwater, and he had asked Tristan one last thing. He said, I want you to gird as me. I want you to wear my clothes, and I want you to take part in my niece's test of ardor. So then the last thing I did was I girded as him, put his big coat on, and I helped to defend his niece during her test of ardor. Had a fight dressed as him. So just a real emotional end to that. Fought all the way to the Glory Square, and we had like a really nice moment of happiness amongst all the sorrow.
Did you meet the person that you were meant to meet in the Glory Square about defending Lady Lordine?
He died.
Oh, what a shame.
By default.
Yeah, I win by default, clearly.
He couldn't even make it through the battle. He didn't even make it to the Glory Square.
But that was a lot.
Yeah.
I had like a series of traumatizing Larps. This was like a real end. But yeah, that was the massacre of the Sweet Glade massacre. What about anyone else got anything else to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of bits. Do you want to talk about your bit and then?
Yeah, I mean, literally, the main thing that I did after the battle was the puppet show, which surprisingly went off without a hitch. Because, obviously we were really prepared for this. It's not like we were sticking biscuits onto sticks to use as props before the battle. There was a biscuit involved. I don't remember why. It was a play that was commissioned by a group about an eternal turning someone into a changeling, like a member of their group. It was, it was good. They liked it. And then one of our listeners actually popped in halfway through and then demanded an encore so that he could see the whole thing. And then everyone else was like, yeah, encore. And you know what? I got paid more for that play than I have been paid for, like, basically more than I've earned from anything else. Possibly put together this year. Definitely this year. But when I was selling potions and stuff, yeah, I made some money off that.
We earned a lot from the play we did. Like you said,
Yeah,
you make
plays
bank.
are where it's at. Yeah, absolutely. So I was like, oh, considering I'd been like pinching pennies all weekend, and then right at the end of the event, I was like, oh, money. But yeah, it was good though. Always like doing a puppet show with the Smuppeteers, unions pending. Yeah, and then all that was left to do really, I was hanging around with people. I got Danica to cure my venom because we were just sat chatting. I was like, oh shit, I'm still venomed. Me and Red were both like, oh yeah, Danica, can you heal that? And she got us to snort some cerulean mazarine or whatever it is, which they're like,
course.
yeah, okay, thank you. Well, that was strange. And yeah, that was basically my event. What about you then, Chloe?
So we had the typical, walk back to camp, all somber like, and then everyone, people gather in the songs and story circle to debrief about the battle. You take the names of the dead and things, and needless to say, there were a lot of names. But in the centre of the circle, where there were a few people that were terminal, but obviously one of them being Anwin. And she gave her final speech to Navarre, and that was really hard to hear. And people were going and having words, and there were hugs, tears, so much exchanged between all the people that were terminal in the centre there. And I catch eyes with Anwin, and she says something to me. I couldn't hear what she's saying, so I was like, all right. I walk into the centre of the circle and I kneel beside her. And we have a very, very interesting conversation. It ended up with Neith swearing a blood oath to Anwin. And she has no intention of breaking that oath. She can't. It's a blood oath. It's set now. But yeah, Neve she's going to be on the edge. Like E1 is going to be... It's going to be an event. Like if you're in her way, don't be.
Yeah,
she has lost a lot, and there are big plans for Neve in motion now. People have had eyes on her for a while, and now it's going to be time for her to step up, and it's going to be fucking wild. So we did that. Swore my blood oath with Anwin. Headed back to camp, and we had our funeral for Corin, which. Obviously, there were so many people. The Corpse Glade was just backed up with people. There was just so many people in there, so many people waiting to get in. We were like, right, okay. So we just went out to the path where the Boar's Head used to be, just in that little patch of grass. And we had our funeral for Corin there, and it started to rain just as we got out there, and it was just all so cinematic. And it's kind of there. Then Rook and I did the rounds with going to each different group and paying our respects to the group. That's something that I've started to do, with my whole vision of being one nation and showing our support with the nation. So we were going around to all the different groups that we are affiliated with or knew took heavy losses, and just paid our respects and said, if you need anything, we're here with us. You've always got friends with the Dread Shields. What's ours is yours, and what's yours is ours, so your pain is ours as well. Big things, and yeah, we just kind of just somber toned it till time out, really. There are a couple of other things that I went and spoke about with people with, but I will keep them a secret because it's going to become a thing, hopefully, in the coming events. But
okay. Find out and play.
That was near on my E4.
Yeah. Anyone else do anything?
I got a contract signed for next summer, which is always a big. So I ended the summer on paperwork with Hayhurst Hall, and then I timed out with another friend doing the happy jump into the air and stop count with 80s music playing in the background.
Horrific.
We survived to our third year. Sorry, Alex.
Just about.
Oh yeah, Alex.
What?
Just.
I don't mind.
It's the best event to die in E4, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Well, thank you very much to everybody for following us through this journey. And thank you again. We're coming to the, like just said, coming to the end of our 3rd year. So thank you to those of you who've been listening the whole way through.
You nerds, we love you.
We are a few things are going to trickle out now, but things are probably going to pump the brakes for a little bit as we come into the long dark. We have got a few episodes coming up, so the feed's still going to be busy for a little while. But that's the end. This might be coming out just before or after Hunter's Feast, which is our player event, which we're running this weekend. So we look forward to talk about. I don't know if there'll be an episode to come out of it, but we'll look forward to.
Might as well.
Yeah, because
Look forward
wrap off
to-
the year with it, maybe.
Look forward to seeing some of you there. As always, the best way to support us is to follow us, like, share, subscribe. Word of mouth is fantastic. Let people know kind of that you enjoy the show. If you want to support us a little bit more directly, you can find us on Patreon at Fabletop. If you would like £15 off your first Empire ticket, you'll find the codes in the episode description below. That gives you £15 off, and it gives us £15 off. Thank you very much to our wonderful patrons for helping us keep the lights on
In the lighthouse.
in the lighthouse. Keep your eye on the feed. There might be some fun special episodes coming out, so keep an eye. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. And as I mentioned, John died, so I think as we say
do it in
goodbye,
his honour.
It is.
thank you very much for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
We love you. Fucking nerds.